Okay, welcome back to the YouTube channel. It's your boy 3 Point Spanish King, and I have Hugh McLeod here from Japan, all the way from Japan, same area code as me as far as time zone goes. So
Yeah,
that's
pretty
great. He's
close.
not too up. um, I do have to make an apology. We did do this show earlier with Adam,
Oh,
another,
really?
yeah, he was born in New Zealand, lives in New Zealand, and I will deeply apologise to Adam. We did not plan to do that. I had problems with my phone, my battery. I was getting off the bus, and we treat all of our guests on this show with respect. And Adam is no different. He's part of our part of this family. And Adam, if you're watching this, don't think you've been replaced. I am deeply sorry, and that will never happen again. So with that out of the way, we will here to do with our review on day one of the test match, the second
Mm.
test in Mumbai, and like I said, Hugh McLeod is here from Tokyo, from Japan. How are you, Hugh?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks there, Lucas. How about yourself?
Well, a bit traumatized what happened the last 5 minutes with Adam, but hopefully apologise and he isn't offended. But apart from that, it's been a good day. I've had my cricket today, so unfortunately I've had to do this show twice because I've had a battery problem. But
Mm.
we're here now, and we'll start our review. And won't waste any more people's time, including your time as well. Your time is also very important, even though we live in the same time zone. Japan, you're a teacher, so you've got a very busy schedule dealing with kids. I deal
Yeah,
with kids, my sister's kids, and it's not pleasant. Trust me.
yeah. I got the weekend. I got the weekend. I'm free basically from
Oh yes, of course, Friday.
yeah
Of
Friday.
course, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, so we will start this review. And we from the top of the bat, we had a captaincy change. Kane Williamson was out, and Tom Latham is in. Of course,
Yeah.
Tom Latham is a vice captain. What were your thoughts about that, Hugh?
Uh, yeah, it was a bit of a shock all around, really. Well, not shock, but a surprise with the selection. I put out my possible teams early in the morning for both India and New Zealand, and they were totally wrong. There was like talk about Pajara being dropped, and then suddenly like Rahane, what was his name, Jadeja, and who was the other guy? Sharma, I think.
Yes,
They
Ishan. Yes.
Yeah, they said that they weren't going to play because they were injured, but I mean, this is like the morning of the test match, so it's kind of a bit odd, isn't it? Really, that all these three guys were suddenly injured on the. Wouldn't they say that like yesterday or during the week? It was that was kind of funny. And then you see Rahane coming out with the drinks, and he's supposed to have pulled a hamstring or something, and he's walking fine. And then there's talk on the timeline and Twitter that Indian players don't get dropped. I mean, they don't get injured. They get dropped. They don't get dropped. They get injured. So it's like, and then Kane Williamson. I was thinking, shit, that was a big one, really, because of course he's the captain. He hasn't been playing that great lately, but I mean, he scored 24 off about 100 balls. The second innings, he's still in pretty good form. He's scored a couple of good scores in the T20. I mean, a few people are saying that he's not batting that well and he's not that consistent, but he's still batting pretty well. And of course, he's got that tennis elbow or elbow problem.
Mm.
But yeah, that was a bit of a surprise. But yeah, I think Latham is a worthy replacement as captain. He did really well in England. Was it the second test, and we won the test against England.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it won us the series against England as well. So yeah, Latham's very good. I didn't see the game, but yeah, he's very dependable. He's very focused. Of course, his batting's very good. So he's a pretty good replacement as a captain. Williamson is still a bit of a shock, but yeah. And then they they went on. Yeah, it was an interesting game. I did follow it. I didn't watch it. I sort of
Yeah, of course.
followed it, and actually, I lost interest at the start because suddenly India were going at such a good clip that I thought, oh my God, India are going to take this. They're going to score 500 runs, and then suddenly it all changed. Yeah, it was interesting. Although,
Well,
yeah, yes,
you mentioned that you mentioned that correctly. India were after an absolute fly in that first session. Agarwal and Shubman Gill batted absolutely amazingly. Cole Jamieson didn't get any, as Adam pointed out
yeah,
before, he didn't get any much penetration in the pitch as he would have liked. Southie wasn't doing anything special,
yeah,
and they were in all sorts of trouble. They were looking at 400, 500 plus.
yeah,
Um, and then their spinner, New Zealand spinner, threw an absolute curveball. Patel,
yeah,
he was absolutely fantastic today. Came
yeah.
on and got the crucial breakthrough, and then got out Virat Kohli, got out Pujara, and
But
all of a sudden New Zealand were back into this game.
yeah, amazing. Yeah, it was like three wickets for no runs, 2 overs. I think it was like yeah, it suddenly swung the whole pendulum and swung the game back in favour of New Zealand. Although, yeah, India did quite well in the end. They came out on top,
Yeah,
I think. But
yeah,
it's a game that was. It's a bit like the last test. I think the last test they had 225 for four after a full day's play.
yes,
It's not a big score, is it? Really, it's
no,
not.
no,
200 and again, it's the same. It's 225 after four, and I think this pitch seemed to have no demons for the fast bowlers. But of course, yeah, Patel got like three. He got 4 wickets. Jeez, yeah, it
yeah.
was. Yeah, he did really well. I like Patel. I didn't see the wickets, and one of them was a bit dodgy, but
Mm.
it was close.
The Virat Kohli one you're referring to.
Yeah, that one is a sticky point. Yeah, a lot of people are not too happy about that. They're thinking that like Kohli was up for his what is it, 71st century,
Mm. Yeah,
and yeah, the crowd didn't look happy. But yeah, that could have gone again. That could have gone even further in New Zealand's favour. Maybe that put more pressure on India, but they seem to have got out of that not too badly, really. 4 wickets down. But yeah, that Kohli was a big one, really. And the
uh,
duck.
uh,
Well,
I must say, when outside of the Indian people, when Kohli doesn't make any runs, it puts a lot of smiles on people's faces.
yeah,
They take great pleasure of seeing him go for ducks and ones and twos.
yeah. The
Um,
English seem to be very ecstatic when he goes for a duck. The Indians seem, yeah, it's kind of the whole opposite of the spectrum. The Indian fans are very angry, and the English are very happy. Actually, yeah, New Zealand's probably pretty happy about that too, really. But yeah, he hasn't really been scoring that many runs anyway in the first place. So that's another stick point. And who was he going to?
oh,
I mean, suddenly they got these 3 guys out. Yeah, it's almost like they just did it to save some shame for these guys. But I don't know about Jadeja. Yeah, he must be injured because he had a blinder last time. But
mm,
Rahane, yeah, that seems a bit odd, that one. And uh, Kohli
Ishant
had to
Sharma.
replace. Yeah, Ishant Sharma was a bit funny too. Um, but yeah, Kohli had to replace some batter. And who was it going to be? I thought it was going to be Pujara, but I mean, that's not really. He's done okay, really, Pujara. He's had a couple good innings. And then I thought, well, maybe that the opener, what's his name? Mayank.
Agwal, yeah, Agarwal.
Yeah, Agwal. And look at what this guy did. They were thinking about dropping him, and he goes out and scores 100. And,
Well,
yeah, yeah, it's a funny
uh,
day.
I'm I'm actually glad you brought Agarwal up because
Mm.
as you pointed out, India got back into this game with Patel. Got rid of Pujara, got rid of Kohli, got rid of the opening pair. So got rid of Shubman Gill. So very quickly.
Yeah,
And then Agarwal continued and he made this brilliant century. Just like
yeah,
last Test match with Ayar, India were in a world of trouble.
yeah.
And Ayar came out and was a lone hand. This time it was Agarwal. What did you think of his innings?
I didn't really see it, but I caught note that he's a very good player of spin. So I mean,
Yeah.
basically, the pace bowlers were doing nothing, and Patel seemed to trouble the Indian batters, and he seemed to have no trouble whatsoever. So
Mm.
maybe he can go on. Yeah, that was the thing with Ayr last week. It was like 142 for four. Yeah, similar
Mm.
game. This game
Yeah.
has some
Well,
similarities.
it's a carbon copy.
Yeah,
Absolute carbon copy.
except the opener went on. Last time was like Gill. He got a 50. Yeah, Gill.
Yeah.
He's done fairly well, Gill, but he doesn't seem
Yeah.
to be able to go on. He's got a 50 and he's got a 44. Actually, he's done pretty well. He's got a lot of
Very good
detractors.
point.
He's got a lot of people that criticize him and don't like him, but he's actually done pretty well, really. After Aya and, of course, this Agril innings, he's performed fairly well, really. I mean, and he's opening as well.
Yeah.
You never
Well,
speak of. Mm,
again, I'm glad you mentioned that.
yeah,
Because Shubman Gill, has fantastic technique. He's got great
yeah,
technique, very good. But unfortunately, when he makes these 50s or 60s, he doesn't go on with it. We saw him in
yeah,
Australia. He was fantastic in Australia. Absolutely, he did everything right except for make 100.
yeah,
And got carried away with Nathan Lyon a little bit. Um, so and you saw that talent. And again, we've seen that again. We've seen him in the first Test match. He's got that
mhm,
start. He made that 50, and again, he may not have made a 50, but again, he made another start.
yeah,
Um, and you don't want to have a reputation of being a player that can't convert your starts,
yeah,
can't convert your 50s to 100s. Um, so it's one thing that he would need to look on.
yeah. He's relatively new in the piece as well,
Yes,
though.
yes,
Only how many tests he had? 7, 8. He's done pretty well, but yeah, he's starting to get a bit of a reputation of not really going on here now.
yeah,
That's I think I can't remember in Australia. I think maybe he got he's got a few 50s anyway, couple
yeah.
50s and a couple 40s. Yeah, he hasn't been able to go on. But yeah, as you said, he's got tremendous technique. And today that partnership, I think it was. Well, I'm not exactly sure, but I think it was 80 opening partnership. It was pretty
Yeah.
good start.
Yeah, they they
Yeah,
they ran off the blocks very quickly,
yeah,
and like
yeah,
like you said, you thought they were going to chase something like 500 plus.
yeah. I
The pitch was doing nothing.
Yeah, for a couple of hours, I didn't even bother following it because I thought, shit, it's already 40 for none after like 15 overs. And I thought, well, this looks a bit ominous, really. No, they weren't troubling the batters at all. But yeah, it was, they got back into the game a bit, New Zealand, but still it's a bit of an uphill battle. But I mean, it's kind of like, yeah, exactly. It's kind of a bit of a carbon copy of the first game. So New Zealand's still in it.
And late in the day, we saw Latham use Daryl Mitchell, who's another one who came into this team, who
Okay,
got
yeah.
picked. And I thought Daryl Mitchell was fantastic. He really tightened down an end. I thought
Oh, really?
Latham's
Yeah.
I thought Latham's rotation of his fast bowlers was pretty good, because the heat in India and the humidity, it can wear you
Yeah.
down. And Adam pointed this out before, that Jamison was only bowling his fifth over, and he looked like he was out of gas.
Oh,
And that's not really a good sign. So I thought Latham was fantastic,
yeah.
rotating his bowlers, and Mitchell was very good
Oh,
late on
really?
that day.
Yeah, I never really rated Mitchell as a bowler. I've only really watched him in one day as though. He's not a bad, he's got a pretty good action. I don't know how fast he can bowl. Maybe only 130, 135,
Mm,
maybe.
mm,
Yeah, he's a pretty good all-round player. After watching him in that T20, I actually before that T20 World Cup, I didn't really rate him that much. To be honest, I thought he was pretty good, but maybe a little below par from CDG. But actually, now I'm starting to think he could be better than CDG. And CDG's been in bad form for the whole year, so he's been lacking form. So it's kind of pleasant, and he can bat. We've seen him in the
mm.
T20, so that was not a bad move, I thought, because I don't know how effective Wagner would really be on these kind of pitches either. Although they say that he's troubles Coley all the time and stuff like that. But yeah, Mitchell, not a bad choice as well, I think. But of course, yeah, we only got it's just the two spinners, and they're not well. Patel seems to be okay, but I don't know about Rachin. I haven't seen him
Well,
bowl really. That
well, I was going to mention you the other spinner, Will Summerfield, who did not have the greatest day today.
oh, he's playing.
Um,
Oh,
yeah,
that's good. Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
So they just. So how did so of course because Williamson didn't play, so that was the replacement,
yeah,
straight out replacement.
yeah.
Not a bad idea. Yeah. But yeah. But I see he's down in the batting lineup as number 3. I don't know about that. But he has been
I
opening.
don't think he'll be coming out at 3.
But he has been opening though, so I'm kind of wondering what are they going to do there? I'd prefer him like number. Well, he probably could go in ahead of Blundell, but yeah, I'd rather see him in the middle order. But then who's going to be the number 3? That's the other problem.
Yes,
Take,
that's another problem they got to raise. There's no Kane Williamson because he's been the number 3 for a very long time.
yeah, yeah.
For New
Well,
Zealand.
yeah, I think that has been the case. It's been Williamson 3, Taylor 4 for like the last 8, maybe 8 years. So number yeah, Nichols has moved around the order, but he's been an opener. I don't know if maybe yeah, it's tricky that.
Maybe
That's
Ross Taylor might get his promotion.
yeah, I don't know about Ross recently. I think yeah, maybe I'm a fan of Ross Taylor, and but I don't know, man. I think he's ending his career basically. Maybe being number 3 might be a bit too much at this point. But well, you never know. Yeah, he could be a number 3. He's the most experienced player, basically. Yeah.
Well, it can't be
Yeah.
Tom Latham because he's the opener.
Yeah.
There's no Conway, of course. You know, Conway's pretty versatile anywhere.
Yeah. He would have been a good number 3, Conway.
Yeah. So that's a problem New Zealand have to make up. As you probably suggested, maybe Nichols has been experimented around. You know, he's an opener. Is batting lower down the order, can bat middle of the order, so maybe number 3.
Yeah, I'm not sure. This is a sticking point as well. I don't know how they're gonna. But yeah, Mitchell's down for number 3. I don't know if they'll do it. But yeah, maybe he seems to be the man that seems to adapt to anything lately. Opening in the T20s, yeah, he's done pretty well. Yeah, and he's got a pretty good technique. Yeah, possibly. Yeah, but I wouldn't bet my house on it. Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Well, I because you work and you unfortunately could not see today's game, but I know you'll be watching tomorrow on a Saturday.
Yeah. I'll watch tomorrow.
So what would you like to see tomorrow from New Zealand, from a New Zealand point of view? Well, of course, you'd like to see all these wickets fall in about 10 overs.
Yeah.
But what do you think will happen? What do you think? What's your mindset going through this?
Well, I'm not overly optimistic about this game because what do we got there? We got like Ayers in at the moment, is he? And Agarwal.
No, Agarwal and Saha, the wicketkeeper. They actually got out Ayu. Yeah,
out.
so
Okay.
yeah, Ayu's out. Don't have to worry about him 100.
hoping for like a score of about 320, and then New Zealand going for it's kind of like the same game again.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's a carbon copy.
Yeah, and New Zealand trying to bat and get like 500, but I mean, last time they had a golden opportunity. They had an opening partnership of about 125, maybe 130, and then they suddenly get out for 296 or something. It's ridiculous. So actually, yeah, I'm just hoping that New Zealand can bowl them out cheaply, obviously, for about 300, and then New Zealand getting about possibly 400, but I can see it probably not going according to plan. And yeah, I'm not exactly sure about this pitch. If it's, they say, I think they reckon it is a rank turner. So then you got Ashwin. I don't even know the bowling lineup really.
You got Ashwin, Axar.
Okay,
yeah. That's.
Siraj.
I think that's all you. That's all you need. That's Siraj. Yeah, they're swing bowler, and they've got they've got another one that's not on debut, but he's only played 4 Test matches. He's an all rounder. Bowling all rounder. I forgot his name. Yadav. Sorry, Yadav. Not Umesh Yadav. Another Yadav.
Okay. Not Sky.
No, I don't think so. No, I don't.
Okay. Yeah.
So they've got him coming up. Apparently, his average is 45 in tests. He already has 100 against England.
Wow.
And he's supposed to be a bowling all rounder. So bowling first. He's a spin bowler, of course. So India still have their 3. Yeah, India still have their 3 spinners. So it looks like because of Ashwin, Jadeja, they would literally be frontlining the attack. Now more responsibility is going to go on Axar. So he's probably going to be a frontline bowler for the first time in his career. Probably justified so because I think he needs 10 wickets in this match.
Yeah.
Which is not beyond him to break the world record for the fastest ever to 50 Test matches played. And that's not impossible for Axar. That's it's hard, but the way he's going, 10 wickets. We don't know how this pitch will turn out to be.
Yeah.
And he could do Test history here. That record, I think it stands from. I'm not sure who it is, but I think the record stands since the 1900s. Well over 100 years.
You're right. I think it's Australian bowler. It goes back over 100 years because I checked it because I was wondering because I thought it was Philander that actually had that record, but I was wrong. It was like Philander, I think, got his 50 in about 8 overs. Yes, like Bannerman or somebody. I checked it.
Someone from that era,
6 tests. It's ridiculous. But it's 1895. It's like Australian.
Something like that. Yes. So Axar has history on his side now. And the way he's been performing, like you've just said, we don't know how this pitch is going to perform. I saw a graph earlier today that the spin was around 8 degrees of spin compared to only 2 degrees in the first Test match. But the Indians in particular, Agarwal was playing them very well now. Patel's got 4 wickets. Summerfield wasn't really that good. You can compare them to bowlers like Ashwin and Axar. That's a totally different lineup bowling spin cartel. And if Patel's getting 8 degrees of spin off that pitch, you can't imagine what Axar and Ashwin are going to do on that pitch if it plays like that. And we saw firsthand what Joe Root. Joe Root was red hot. Making double hundreds. He made that beautiful 100 in the first Test against India. And then even when he got on these rank turners after the first Test, he could not score a run. And then England crumbled with Axar. Axar, incidentally, was the main guy taking 5 wicket hauls in almost every innings he took in that series.
Last time too, and he's dangerous.
So these are much more dangerous spinners than what New Zealand have got. No disrespect to Patel. Summerfield.
Good point.
Yeah. So it's going to be very, very hard if that pitch is spinning 8 degrees with them. It's going to be almost a
Yeah.
nightmare with New Zealand coming into them, who still, they did not look the greatest when in the first Test match with against Spin. However, Patel, and who was the other guy that stood with Patel? I forgot his name at the end. The guy that was on debut.
Ravinder.
Yes. Mind you, they played a fantastic 52 ball partnership to save the
Yeah,
game.
and yeah, Rachin, 91 balls. It's incredible, really. On your debut on the last day of the test in India versus like 3 spinners, it was remarkable. So yeah, maybe if you do, but he is a good batter. He's an opener. He opens for Wellington. He's actually a first class opener. So, but yeah, in your debut test, that's pretty. And of course, he was down the order, so he didn't have a hell lot of support. It's incredible.
Well, it was almost like the Jimmy Anderson and Monty Panesar in the 2009 series, the first Test match in the Ashes, where they blocked and somehow saved that game, and the rest was history. They won that series,
yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah,
Um,
actually, yeah. Well, New Zealand's had a. There's been a few tests like that recently. There was actually like it was actually Sodhi and Wagner. They batted for about the last 2 hours against England, and I think it was Dunedin in New Zealand a few years back, and they drew a test as well. Actually, New Zealand, but a couple of times against England, they've done that in recent times. But yeah, that one was out of this world, really, because it looked like New Zealand were. Well, actually, it looked like New Zealand were doing really well at the start. It's kind of topsy turvy. New Zealand
exactly.
were really well at the start. They were like 80 or
Mm.
70 without, maybe 70 without a wicket. Somerville. Oh no, actually one down. Young, sorry. They were about
Yes, Will Young. Yes.
they were about 70 for one, and they're looking good. It was like the same in the first innings. New Zealand were looking really good, and then they just collapsed.
The spinners got to him, didn't they?
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, the spinners seem to get to maybe the middle order, and the sort of lower order just can't handle it.
Because we have to remember also when New Zealand, they went to England, and basically it's bowling friendly conditions like in New Zealand. This is
Yeah,
a totally different situation,
yeah.
compared to England and New Zealand. These are opposite,
Mm.
and you're going to have to face spin, where you probably don't see that as much in New Zealand. You don't see that as
Yeah,
much as in England.
yeah, it's
Uh,
tough. Yeah,
and it's extremely hard to deal with when you're from those countries and you've
yeah.
never seen a ball turn like that, like we saw with England, where they capitulated against minefield pitches. And
Mm.
we saw that to some degree with New Zealand because of outside Kane Williamson and Taylor. They're really untested. They haven't really faced that kind of heat
Yeah,
and vicious spin before in their lives, even at
yeah,
domestic English level, I presume.
yeah. It showed really. Yeah, I think the top four. Yeah, maybe the top four could handle it. Young did really well, although he
Yes,
got out unfortunately
yes,
in
he
the
was
second
great.
inning. Latham, even Williamson, he did pretty well in some regards. 24 off about 100 balls.
Mm,
But he was very defensive. I was kind of wondering if his mindset was really good for that innings
yeah.
because he went so defensive that the run rate wasn't ticking. It looked like we had to go for a draw, and then wickets started falling. So I don't know if his innings was that, but it was pretty good. But yeah, the bottom order, the middle order at Nichols, from Nichols downwards, it doesn't look that promising against the spin bowlers. And yeah, Mumbai seems maybe this is more of a turner than the last pitch. Actually, that pitch actually seemed not too bad, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, this
Well, no,
one,
no, that's a good point you made. A very good point you made because unlike other Indian pitches like we've seen in the England series, this
yeah,
first Test pitch was actually okay. It was more
yeah,
like it was more like an Australian pitch where it was just flat. It wasn't
yeah,
a minefield.
was it?
It
Yeah,
wasn't anything. It was just flat.
yeah. Even
And
to the last day, it wasn't
yeah,
really. It kept
no,
low. Kept low,
Yeah.
but that's about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so compared to other pitches in India, that first pitch was very benign. It
yeah,
was very tame.
it was a good one. Yeah, actually, was pretty
It
good.
was a good one. It was a
So
good one
yeah,
It was
but
a great one from New Zealand's point of view.
what's going to happen with this pitch, though? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think.
that's the problem. I think it might turn. I think as the days
Yeah,
go on, it
you're
might
making
turn.
it. Yeah, it could actually start looking pretty bad for New Zealand. If yeah, I think they got to get out India for not too much. They're probably going to get 300 at least. If they can get them out for a low 300 score, the same as the first test, try and make parity. Try and get to their score and see how it goes. Yeah, it's going to be tough. Yeah, I don't. And this pitch sounds like it's just going to deteriorate. For what it
Well,
looks.
I don't mean to scare you or the fans that watching the show,
Yeah.
but Agarwal's conversion rate from 100 to 200 is unbelievable. Well, I don't
Oh, really?
he's yeah I think
Have a
when he's
couple.
gone past 100 twice, he's gone on to make that double hundred. Um, so that's an extremely good 100 to 200 conversion rate.
Yeah.
So when he makes hundreds, he makes big hundreds, and it's those runs that the hundreds turn into 150s that can mean all the difference.
Yeah, they're
You
going to
know,
have
like
him.
it was in the first Test match. With Saha making that 50 not out.
Yeah.
I use 100 was the big difference.
Oh, yeah.
You
Well,
know,
he got 100 and a 50 that I.
yeah,
He basically was the man of the match, wasn't he? But he
yeah,
basically took that game. Almost, yeah, like a lot of people thought he took the game away from New Zealand. He took it almost away from New Zealand, but we hung
yes.
in there. We hung in there, basically. You can't really say that we.
Showed
we
fighting spirit. That's the
yeah,
word, fighting
yeah,
spirit. They showed some
yeah,
guts.
yeah. It
Um,
was well, it was a good effort from New Zealand, really. But yeah, this game might be a little different, unfortunately.
well, we'll wrap this show up.
Yeah,
Hopefully, for your behalf, it
yeah,
won't end like that. Hopefully, New Zealand, if they do get in a position like that, not that we wish them they do, that they can bat on and save this game. It's not over. Of course, New Zealand can win this Test match.
no, it's not
It's not
over.
doom and gloom. They can still make a big score. We can't judge a pitch until both teams are batted on it.
Yeah,
New Zealand might come out and absolute shock us and make 400, and then declare with a 150 lead, and it could explode into a minefield. So you never know until both teams have batted on this pitch.
yeah.
Um,
It's
so
Yeah, that's exactly what I felt the first game, actually, to tell you the truth, because suddenly New Zealand they had a flyer. They were like 125 for no wicket, and then everybody was thinking, "Oh my God, New Zealand's going to score 500 or 600 and win this game so easily." But then it just changed. But the fact that they got up to that 125 for without a wicket when India had struggled half the first innings, so yeah, I agree with you there. I think we've got to wait to see New Zealand bat. I mean, if they bat poorly, then we know this might be over in 4 days or 3 days.
yeah.
Uh,
Well, we hope for your behalf and the New Zealand behalf that it doesn't.
yeah, I hope
That they
so.
can win this Test match. I personally would like New Zealand to win this Test match. Because at the end of the day, we are playing for World Championship Test points, and New Zealand have already stolen 4 points from India with that draw.
Oh,
So with that draw, they've got I think 4 Championship Test points,
mm,
and when you get points away from home, it's a bit like a soccer a 2-leg soccer match away in a home leg. When you get that crucial away goal, it's very crucial to the home leg. So that's what New Zealand have done. They've got points.
yeah.
Um, and I think their schedule after India is Bangladesh, um, and South
Oh,
Africa, at home. Two of the
oh,
nations that probably
yeah,
would not do well in New Zealand.
yeah,
Well, Bangladesh have gone to there in the past and got absolutely smashed. And
yeah. They're a frequent visitor, but it'll be interesting. South Africa, that's for sure. I think
Yeah.
Australia comes, but only for like it's like T20 again or something. Unfortunately,
We're not going to get into that. I think you personally know my feelings about that, about series that's only
yeah,
T20 and ODIs.
yeah,
I,
yeah. I'm sort of sick of the T20s now after watching it for about the last 4 or 5 months. It's pretty cool.
I've been over it since 2007 here, so me going off is nothing new. Trust me, almost 10
Yeah,
damn years I've been going
yeah,
off about it.
yeah,
But
yeah. One day is I'd like to see some more tests. I'd love to see a test Australia, New Zealand, and New Zealand. I don't know if it's happening next year, but yeah,
no,
no,
I would love. I would love to see that same test series in New Zealand, because we haven't been there since
yeah,
2015, and that was a magical series because McCallum hit the fastest 100
Ah, okay,
in Test match history,
yeah,
and made our world class bowling unit with Hazelwood, Stark, Lyon look like absolutely nothing. And when Baz was in one of his moods, nothing is impossible, and nothing was impossible that day.
yeah,
Where he carted out our poor bowlers all over the park, and I couldn't believe what I was watching. I thought I was in dreamland. So,
yeah.
um,
Yeah, it was a great one.
magnificent innings. But anyway, thank you for coming today and reviewing and giving your opinions. We really do appreciate it. And if you want to hear more of Hugh McLeod's uh, opinions and all that, do follow him on Twitter. Hugh McLeod is his tag name.
Okay,
Please follow him. Please like his tweets, because he's got a good knowledge of the game. He does report the teams before games, so you'll know from him when you follow him. And please be respectful to him, and like and follow him. And Hugh, thank you for coming to the show once again. You came last week. Fantastic again.
yeah,
Really enjoyed talking to you.
yeah, me too.
Uh, and like I said, this won't be the last time you'll be on. You'll be on again. Probably tomorrow, since you'll be
Yeah,
watching all day.
yeah,
And we will love getting your views about tomorrow's game. So thank you so much for joining, Hugh.
yeah. Thanks very much, Lucas. Yeah, it's been a pleasure to be on, and it's been very enjoyable. And yeah, it'd be good if New Zealand have a good day tomorrow to be talking about it tomorrow too. Okay, thanks a
Oh,
lot.
well, thank you. No problem, Hugh. Well, that's the end of the show, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe. Please do, and follow Hugh. Thank you, guys, and goodbye.
Okay, see you.